What's up, iCanFAM? Welcome back. We're back for another episode, and as you guys can see, we are in the flower tent with our little friend. Say hello. Now guys, we're just starting this episode off just a little bit differently. It's a new episode, it's a new channel. Well, it's the same channel, but we made a few changes. We've revamped it a little bit. You guys may notice the new logo, the new channel banner on the homepage. We got a lot of stuff planned for you guys this year, and it's about time that we roll some of those things out. So today we're showing you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes look of what's going on in the garden. We also did a little bit of rebranding just to give the channel a whole new fresh look and feel. So let me know what you guys think about it. I'm really excited to find out you guys' thoughts on that. Now another thing that you guys will be seeing on this channel is a lot of new Seed to Harvest series episodes. We're going to be publishing a lot of stuff because we have tons of episodes from past runs and tons of stuff that we have grown on past runs that we haven't shown you guys, haven't shared with you guys. We've got so much content. I'm talking about things like SFVO, the 1994 Super Skunk. Heck, we even got that Bruce banner. The Bruce banner was absolute fire, and it was a parent for the Hulk's breakfast. So we should show you guys exactly how it looked when we did the Seed to Harvest stuff. So new cultivars, old cultivars, you're gonna see it all on this channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed, smash that like. And I just wanna say I really appreciate everyone watching, everyone tuning in and tapping in on all those videos. Both of us really appreciate it. Now y'all, I'm just getting a little bit distracted, but this little Minions t-shirt is so cute because she's a little minion, an absolute menace. But I love her so much. Now some of you guys may know about the puppy, but some of you guys may not know that we also got another channel. We're posting constantly on the Legal News Network. We actually dropped a video today. We dropped two on day before yesterday. We're dropping videos on that channel all the time. So if you guys need to stay up to date with what's going on when it comes to cannabis laws in your state or your country, definitely tap in, see what's going on over there. Because if you guys want to see if you guys are able to run some of these at home, then you guys may need to tap in on the Legal News Network to find out what's going on when it comes to laws, bills, and policies and all that stuff, because lately they've been banning a lot of stuff. So you guys need to get in on the know to find out what's going on. Isn't that right, little one? Absolutely. Now personally guys, I'm really excited for today's episode, so let me know what you guys think, and without further ado, let's get straight on into it. Let's go, baby.
Warning, this video is for scientific and educational documentary purposes only. We do not sell anything.
So today we're having a look at some of the most purple flowers that I've ever ran, and I'm not talking those dark purples that fade to green after harvest. I'm talking vibrant purple all the way through, even after jarring up. And it's going to be an epic show because we're back, we're reloaded, and we're better than ever. So welcome to the iCan show. What's up, iCanFAM? We're bringing you guys something you guys have been waiting on. The channel has gotten a revamp, new logo, new intro, and we're kicking it off with a bunch of new content, starting with a full S2H on the Gooseberry by iCanFAM Genetics. So without further ado, let's talk and more grow, so let's go! Now the Gooseberry by iCanFAM Genetics is a strain that I heard about before I ran it. So when I got a pack, you know I was gonna run him for sure. To get him started with germination, I did the soak method and used the Qualiterps germination booster. We had full germination under 24 hours with a nice white taproot. I like to germinate in a dark place, so I put the clear plastic cups in a box and set it on a heat mat. Once the seeds cracked and the taproot formed, I put them into peat pellets or cocoa coins for this run. I've also used rapid rooters or went straight into the soil, but this is what I did for this run. Now for seedlings, I like to keep the RH or relative humidity high. This helps my seedlings transition to veg a whole lot better. I used a humidity dome for this reason, and there was a point when I went a little hardcore and had a dome in a dome, but I don't recommend that because if the RH gets too high, your seedlings can dampen off and not even make it to veg. Now sometimes as the seedling emerges, the shell can get stuck to the leaves. You can just pull it off, just be careful not to rip your seedling apart. Now the seedlings quickly outgrew the dome and we had to transfer them into solo cups from the little peat pods. Now my memory card actually got corrupted, so I lost some of the footage of this gooseberry as a seedling, but the mystery maid and some of these other plants I started at the exact same time, and this is exactly what I did with the gooseberry. We eventually went from solar cups to 1-gallon pots, but one thing that I always do when I transplant is add a couple things. Firstly, iCan Organics, the veg or flower power depending on what stage my plant is in. But it's a must add for me that I add some mycorrhizae, because when I transplant, that's when I get to see the roots, and mycorrhizae works best when it's applied directly to the root ball. So here we use some Dino Myco. Now typically everything in moderation, less is more, but for me a little extra mycorrhizae works great with the iCan Organics, which also has a beneficial bacteria boost, so your plants will be getting all the nutrients it needs while it builds its microbial network. The iCan Organics is easy, slow release organic fertilizer. Give it a try today, use the code icanthc and grab a discount. Try the bundle, you won't regret it. Now with the iCan Organics, you can either apply it as a top dress or you can add it directly to your pot when you do a transplant. You'll see both of these options later on in the video, but it's an absolutely easy organic solution for fantastic plants. Now there are lots of different ways to feed your ladies. Some people like synganics, some people like synthetics, but for me I like organics, and that's just my preference. Lots of people usually ask me about my medium. Now for me, I often reuse my mediums after harvest. Why let it go to waste? I remove the root balls, shake out any excess soil, and re-amend with the iCan Organics dry fertilizer. This helps me to make sure that any nutrients that may have been depleted during the plant's life cycle, they just get topped up a bit. Now you don't have to reuse your medium. Some people toss it out into their backyard and use it for outside gardens, but for me I like to reuse my medium. There are also people who do no-till, but we're not going to get into no-till in this episode, but it's definitely something that you can explore if you want to go that route. Now once you remove lots of the thick root mass, you're left with some soil that's 100% usable, and even some of those root pieces will break down over time. Plus, you can always do a soil test to dial things in even more, or use whatever are your favorite amendments to make a super soil mix. But for me, the iCan Organics is a power pack, and that supercharges my soil. Now for me, the veg stage is usually pretty easy and things run on autopilot in my veg chamber. All I usually do is water, but for this run I had a drip irrigation system set up, so I didn't even need to do that. But let's touch on the veg chamber real quick. Some people either love or hate my setup, but my setup is pretty unique, and heck, it works for me and it works great. I repurposed an old cabinet and painted everything white because that's great for reflectivity. Better than foil and probably just as good as Mylar. Now as a light source, I threw in 2 LEDs, and my player of choice was the Mars Hydro FCE 1500. I had one in the top cabinet and I had one in the bottom cabinet. It just fit the small space perfectly, and I highly recommend it for anyone looking for a veg light or a light for a small space. It absolutely rocks. You can use the code icanthc and grab a discount on all Mars Hydro gear, and they got some awesome sales running. So use the code on top of sale items and grab a double discount. You can level up your grow room for a fraction of the cost. Now something else I added was 2 oscillating fans, and the setup was pretty much done. I don't have an exhaust system in there, but I have a needed one. The doors of the cabinet don't close properly, so there's passive air exchange, and the oscillating fans definitely help too. That with the drip irrigation system setup, I had everything running on autopilot. I didn't need to spend a lot of time in the veg chamber, it just put in work all by itself. Now drop it in the comments down below and let me know what kind of setup you guys got, especially when it comes to the veg stage. I'll be down there hanging out with you guys, and I really want to find out what you guys got when it comes to the veg chamber setups. Now, as the gooseberry progressed through veg, I was noticing that she may have been a good candidate for a scrog, and I scrogged a few ladies in flower in the past, so I knew that it would be an easy task, and plus I had a frame from a past run, so I just set that up in my 2x4 tent because that's where I plan to flower this gooseberry. I had 2 other plants in there as well, so in that tent we had a 2x4, we had 3 girls under 1 scrog. Now usually I would take cuts from all my plants before I put them into flower, and that's exactly what I did here. I took a few cuts just in case this gooseberry was so much fire that I needed to keep her around for a while. Spoiler alert, we did not keep her around for a while. And the iCan Organics is straight fire. Just have a look at this root mass on this plant. Now once the scrog frame was set up, I uppotted one more time and threw her under the scrog before flipping to flower. Usually I like plastic pots, but I decided to use a fabric pot for this run, and it was actually a Fast Buds fabric pot meant for autoflowers. But oh well, doesn't matter. Now for the scrog frame, I used hemp string for this run. I've used things like fishing wire in the past. Let me know what you guys use when it comes to string for your scrog frame. A lot of people use different things, and people have said that the hemp string causes fibers in your bud. I haven't had any issue with that. People have also said that fishing wire can cut into the stems of your plants. Again, I've had no issues with that, but let me know what you guys think. Now flower with this girl was pretty easy. We flipped to 12-12 and the iCan flower power was applied as usual when I transplant, but also when I top dressed every 3 weeks and watered as usual. She was getting everything that she needed, and that was fantastic. The flower tent had no drip irrigation at this time, so it was a hand watering job, but I prefer hand watering in flower because I can dial things in a bit more for each plant. Just my personal preference. Plus, that's when I can go in and make sure that there are no problems or see if anything looks off. Now halfway through flower, we actually did set up a blue mat irrigation system, and that was helpful, but it did cause problems which we'll get into later on. Nonetheless, shout out to Michael and Izzy for hooking us up and setting that up in our tent. Now as the gooseberry began to flower, I could see the bright, vibrant purple setting with a lot of those pistils turning a bright orange. Man, she was a looker. Some of the most purple flowers I've ever ran in my life. She was absolutely beautiful. Now about week 5 or 6 or so in flower, I did notice that there were some nanners forming. Some of them were located at different parts of the flowers, but I decided to leave her to run till the end. After all, she was just so pretty. Nanners can be a result of many different things, oftentimes stress, sometimes induced by the gardener. Think of lights coming on during dark periods, and that's exactly what happened here because we had Blue Mat come over to install these Blue Mat systems, and unfortunately our dark period is during the day, so it just worked out like that where the plants were really disturbed during its dark period, which is not ideal, and that probably induced some of the stress which caused some of the nanners. But the flowers still look great and the tent still smelled awesome. But as they say, all good things must come to an end, and eventually chop day arrived, and the gooseberry was up on the chopping block. There was no debate. I also noticed a couple of seeds forming in on the buds, which was pretty cool to see, but not something I planned to breed with or even used, so I just tossed them out. No sense in even growing them. For my breeding projects and recently released drops like the Slurry Pie, the Cali Couchlock, or the Paloma Punch, all by iCan seeds, I go through a lot of testing to find suitable candidates for parents, and even then need to make sure that they are in fact a good match so I can bring you guys that fire. So check out those new drops, and if you're growing any of them, tag us because we've been showcasing them on the flower shot section of our page. You guys have been growing some absolute beauties, and just real quick, if you're interested in exclusive fire genetics, then join the iCan VIP Bean Club because we got mailboxes burning down all the time. The next drop is coming up pretty soon, so make sure you get in and don't miss out so your mailbox could be burnt to a crisp. Now when it comes to the actual harvest process, it was really easy. I harvested the entire tent at the same time and cut down all the hemp string around the plants. I got the other girls out so we can have a good look at the gooseberry and see those beautiful purple colors. And man, she was just so darn purple. The contrast between the green leaves and the purple flowers and the orange pistils, it was absolutely amazing. Now for me, when it comes to my post-harvest process, I cut her down at the base and leave all the fan leaves on there. All the fan leaves, all the sugar leaves, all the plant matter stays on the plant. For me, this really slows down the dry and helps me to get the best quality final product. It's all about the dry, it's all about the cure. Those are the most important stages of the entire grow process. So don't mess it up. Now once we got her chopped out of the hemp string, out of the scrog and out of the tent, we hung the gooseberry by its base and let it dry for about 2 to 3 weeks. That's about 14 to 21 days. And I used a spare bathroom, which works well for me because it's regulated with the rest of the house's cooling and heating system, which means I can monitor the RH or the relative humidity as well as the temperature in there. If you don't have a spare bathroom, you can use something as simple as a grow tent that you're not using, or maybe a dark closet. Just make sure that you cover any of the windows so it's nice and dark and cool. You don't want any light coming in there, and you don't want it to get too hot or too warm because heat and light degrade the terps and all that other good stuff, when you don't want that to go away, because if it does, you ain't getting it back.
Monkey.
Now after about 21 days, I trimmed her up by hand and we had some pretty decent final product. Despite the nanners or any of the seeds that formed, it was still a pretty good smoke, and to be fair, there were only a couple of seeds that we found in there. I cured her for about 4 weeks before sampling. Now just a quick note on this final stage, guys, it's really important, and this is the stage where you definitely don't want to mess things up. Make sure your environmental controls are dialed in. Make sure your temperature and your relative humidity is dialed in. It's at this stage that bud rot can occur if things get too moist and if those things are out of whack. Bud rot is something that can occur after the post-harvest process and can wipe out your entire crop. And losing months of hard work at the finish line absolutely sucks. So just make sure to do everything properly all the way until the end. Now this gooseberry retained a lot of her vibrant purple colors and orange hairs even after the dry and cure, which is fantastic and truly remarkable. She looked really pretty and had tons of bag appeal. She had a really sweet fruity smell, quite possibly like gooseberries, and in terms of her taste, she was a very light and refreshing toke, not overly dank or heavy hitting, but definitely a get up and go about your day type feel. Now I did notice a couple more of the nanners when I was doing the post-harvest trim, but that's not a problem because a couple of them I just pulled them off. Now personally, I don't want to be blazing up any nanners, but let me know if you guys pull them off or if you guys just leave them on there if your plant does have nanners. Now all in all, if I'm being completely honest, this is probably not a strain that I would run again. I was not happy with how the flower actually turned out post-harvest. While it did look very pretty in terms of the colors, the bud density just wasn't there. It was not necessarily airy, but it wasn't as thick as I would have liked it to be in terms of the nug size, and that's just personal preference. Now that could be down to a multitude of things, but again, it's just personal preference. Now most importantly guys, if you guys like these types of episodes and want me to do more, then smash that like, roll up this video and share it with a friend. But most importantly, drop a comment and let me know that you enjoyed it. Now we got another dope video coming up for you, so just click on it because it's coming up right now.